For thousands of years, the Galactic Empire ruled most of the known galaxy. Its fleets were so powerful that entire civilizations surrendered without fighting. Every alien race feared one name above all others: Emperor Xeran. He was known as the Iron Emperor, cold, intelligent, and completely ruthless. His giant black warships traveled from system to system, crushing rebellions in only hours. Nobody believed anyone could stop him, far away from the empires. Central worlds, hidden near the outer edge of the galaxy. A small blue planet quietly continued its normal life. Earth, to the Galactic Empire, humanity was nothing important. Primitive, divided, and technologically weak. Most alien races did not even know humans existed. Earth was simply another forgotten planet in an unimportant solar system. But everything changed because of one mistake, deep inside the massive flagship Oblivion Crown. Thousands of alien officers worked silently at their stations. The Emperor's fleet had just finished destroying a rebel colony near the Orion sector. Now they were preparing to return home. The navigation AI calculated the fastest route through hyperspace. Normally, the system never failed, but this time, a damaged relay beacon sent incorrect coordinates into the fleet network. No one noticed the error within seconds. The giant fleet disappeared into hyperspace. Stars twisted into long streams of light as hundreds of warships crossed impossible distances. Then alarms suddenly echoed through the flagship. Warning, unknown. Gravity field detected, the ship AI announced. Several officers looked confused. The fleet should not have encountered any star systems on this route. A young navigation officer quickly checked the star maps. His skin turned pale blue with fear. "My Emperor," he said nervously, "we entered the wrong system." The bridge instantly became silent. Emperor Xeran slowly opened his glowing silver eyes. His tall, armored body stood from the throne at the center of the bridge. Every officer immediately lowered their heads. "What system is this?" Xeran asked calmly. The officer swallowed hard. "Designation. Sol system." Nobody recognized the name. Large screens showed a yellow star surrounded by several planets. Then scanners focused on the third planet, a world filled with oceans, cities, satellites, and billions of life signs. A primitive civilization. Another officer said with relief, "No threat detected." But before the Emperor could answer, another accident happened. One nervous weapons commander misunderstood an order from the bridge. Thinking the fleet had arrived inside enemy territory, he activated the automatic attack protocol. Red warning lights exploded across the bridge. Plasma cannons charging. The AI announced. The officer's eyes widened in horror. "No, stop the sequence," he shouted. But it was too late. Hundreds of massive plasma weapons fired at Earth. Blue energy beams crossed space like giant rivers of light, heading directly toward the planet below on Earth. Millions of people looked up in confusion as strange lights appeared in the sky. At first, many believed it was a meteor shower. Then the world's military satellites detected something terrifying: incoming attack. Panic spread instantly across every government on Earth. Emergency sirens screamed across major cities. Fighter jets launched into the sky while world leaders rushed into underground bunkers. People everywhere watched giant alien ships appear above the clouds. Some prayed, some cried, some simply stared in shock. Humanity believed the end had arrived. Then something impossible happened. Before the plasma strikes reached the surface, hidden defense satellites activated around Earth. Thousands of secret weapons suddenly emerged from orbit. Bright shields flashed across the planet, blocking the first alien attack completely. The alien officers froze in disbelief. "That is impossible," one commander whispered. "Primitive worlds did not possess defense systems powerful enough to stop Imperial plasma cannons." But Earth's defenses were only beginning, deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean. Enormous metal structures slowly rose from the water. Hidden human cannons locked onto the alien fleet at the same time. Secret military bases buried beneath mountains activated across the planet. The Galactic Empire suddenly realized Earth was Hiding advanced technology, Emperor Zirin stared silently at the screen. For the first time in centuries, uncertainty entered his mind. "This world," he said quietly, "is not primitive." Suddenly, one of the outer Imperial destroyers exploded. In space, a human orbital weapon had fired back. The bridge erupted into chaos. Enemy attack detected. Officers shouted. Multiple weapon signatures detected across the planet. Unknown defense network active. Zirin raised his hand, instantly silencing the room. His silver eyes remained locked on Earth. A forgotten planet had just survived the first strike of the Galactic Empire, and that had never happened before. Far below the surface of Earth, inside a hidden underground military facility, alarms echoed through dark metal corridors. A group of human soldiers dragged an injured alien survivor into a secure containment room. The creature looked weak, but its dark eyes slowly focused on the humans around him. Then the alien spoke in broken English. "You do not understand what you have done," he whispered. The room became silent. The alien looked directly at them with fear in his eyes. "You attacked the only species the galaxy was warned never to wake." The news of the alien attack spread across Earth within hours. Every television channel showed the same terrifying images: giant black warships floating above the planet, burning debris falling through the atmosphere, and massive energy shields protecting Earth from destruction. For the first time in human history, the entire world understood one thing clearly. Humanity was not alone in the universe. Inside government bunkers, world leaders argued without stopping. Some wanted immediate retaliation, others wanted peace before the aliens attacked again. But deep below Antarctica, hidden beneath miles of ice, another meeting was already taking place. Inside a classified underground base known only as Site Zero, old steel doors slowly opened. Armed soldiers stood silently as several military commanders entered a giant frozen chamber. At the center of the room stood a machine covered beneath thick layers of ice, a massive black structure taller than a building, filled with strange glowing symbols. General Marcus Kane stared at it seriously. "For 50 years, he said quietly, this weapon remained asleep." A scientist beside him looked nervous. "And now," she replied, "we may finally need it." Far above Earth, the Galactic Empire fleet remained in orbit. No further attacks had been launched. The Empire was confused. Inside the flagship, Oblivion Crown, Emperor Zirin studied human defense recordings carefully. Again and again, he watched Earth block the plasma strike. Again and again, he watched hidden human weapons destroy Imperial ships. None of it made sense. Primitive civilizations were weak, divided and easy to conquer. But humanity had hidden advanced military technology powerful enough to surprise the Empire itself. "How long has this species possessed such weapons?" Zirin asked coldly. No officer answered immediately. Finally, an old alien historian stepped forward nervously. "My Emperor," he said carefully, "there are forbidden records." Zirin slowly looked toward him. "Explain." The historian activated an ancient hologram. Dust-covered symbols appeared above the bridge. "Thousands of years ago," the historian began, "the Empire fought an unknown warrior species near the edge of the galaxy. Images of destroyed alien fleets filled the air. The records were incomplete, but the enemy was described as highly aggressive, impossible to intimidate, and extremely adaptive during war." Another image appeared, a symbol burned onto ruined metal ships. A symbol identical to one hidden inside Earth's underground bases. The bridge became silent. The species disappeared before the war ended. The historian continued. The Empire erased all information about them after heavy losses. Zirin narrowed his eyes. "What species?" he asked quietly. The historian hesitated. "The records only mention one name." He looked toward Earth on the main screen. "Humans." A cold silence spread across the bridge at the same time inside a secret prison facility beneath Earth. Scientists continued studying the captured alien soldier. The creature sat behind an energy barrier while human researchers questioned him carefully. Dr. Elena Cross stepped closer. "Why did your empire attack Earth?" she asked. The alien looked confused. "It was an accident," he answered weakly. "The Emperor never intended to come here." The room instantly filled with whispers. An accident. Billions of lives nearly ended because of a navigation mistake. But before anyone could speak again, warning alarms suddenly activated across the facility. Red lights flashed everywhere. "Incoming transmission from orbit," a soldier shouted. Every screen inside the room changed instantly. The face of Emperor Zirin appeared before them for the first time. Tall, armored, and emotionless, his glowing silver eyes stared directly into the cameras. "I am Emperor Zirin of the Galactic Empire," he said calmly. "Humanity possesses military technology that was believed extinct around the world." Billions watched the broadcast in complete silence. "You now stand at the edge of war with the strongest empire in the galaxy," Zirin continued. "But before blood is spilled, I offer your species one chance." His voice became colder. "Surrender your weapons and submit peacefully inside military command centers." Human generals laughed bitterly. After attacking Earth by mistake, the Emperor still believed humanity would surrender out of fear. General Kane, immediate. The frozen ground of Antarctica shook violently. Massive cracks spread across the ice for miles. Snowstorms filled the air as ancient machines slowly came back to life beneath the surface. Inside Site Zero, alarms echoed through every corridor. Scientists ran between computer stations while soldiers prepared defensive positions. Nobody spoke loudly anymore, because everyone understood one terrifying truth. Something hidden under the ice was waking up. General Marcus Kane stood inside the central command room, staring at a giant metal door slowly opening deep underground. Cold air rushed out from the darkness beyond it, air untouched for hundreds of years. Dr. Elena Cross looked at the ancient symbols glowing on the walls. "These systems are older than modern civilization," she whispered. "And yet they still work perfectly," Kane replied, as the giant door fully opened. Lights activated across a massive underground chamber. The soldiers froze in disbelief. Hidden beneath Antarctica was an entire fleet of warships. Thousands of black human vessels rested silently inside the enormous cavern. Some were larger than cities. Others carried weapons powerful enough to destroy moons. Dust covered their metal hulls, but the ships still looked deadly. One young soldier stared at the fleet with wide eyes. "How did nobody know about this?" he whispered. General Kane looked at the ancient ships silently before answering. "Because humanity wanted it forgotten. Far above Earth, the Galactic Empire watched everything carefully. Imperial scanners detected thousands of hidden structures beneath Antarctica. Then they detected the fleet. The bridge of the Oblivion Crown instantly erupted into panic. "That is impossible," an officer shouted. "Primitive species cannot build fleets of that size," another yelled. Emperor Zirin remained silent while staring at the holographic display. But deep inside his mind, old memories were beginning to return. Stories told during his military training, warnings hidden inside forbidden imperial archives, legends about a species that disappeared after nearly destroying the galaxy during the ancient wars. Humans. Suddenly, a new transmission arrived from Earth. The main screen changed instantly. A human man wearing a dark military uniform appeared before the Imperial fleet. His hair was gray, his face calm, but his eyes showed no fear. "This is Admiral Victor Hayes of Earth Defense Command," he said. Behind him stood the massive hidden fleet beneath Antarctica. "You came to our world with weapons," Hayes continued. "You attacked our people without warning." Several Imperial officers prepared for threats or insults, but Hayes simply crossed his arms and spoke calmly. "Humanity does not want war," he said. "But if the Empire attacks Earth again, we will defend ourselves." The transmission ended immediately inside the alien flagship. Silence filled the bridge again. No species had ever spoken to Emperor Zirin that way and survived. But strangely, Zirin did not feel anger. He felt caution. Meanwhile, Deep inside the underground human fleet, engineers worked to reactivate ancient systems. Huge engines slowly powered on, weapon systems awakened one after another. Old computer screens filled with military warnings. From centuries ago, Dr. Elena Cross walked beside Admiral Hayes through the giant hangar. "You knew this fleet existed," she said quietly. Hayes nodded slowly. "My grandfather protected this secret," he replied. "And his grandfather before him," looked confused. "But why hide all this?" she asked. Hayes stopped walking. "Because humanity almost destroyed itself once already," he answered. He pointed toward the giant ships around them. "These were built during the First Galactic War." Elena's eyes widened. "Galactic," she repeated softly. Hayes nodded again. "Long ago, humans reached the stars before the Empire even existed," he explained. "But war changed everything." Before Elena could ask more questions, emergency alarms suddenly activated across the base. "Incoming enemy ships detected," a soldier shouted. Everyone immediately looked toward the tactical screens. 3 Imperial destroyers were descending toward Antarctica. Inside the Oblivion Crown, several alien commanders had ignored the Emperor's orders. Believing humanity was still weak, they launched a secret attack to destroy the underground fleet before it fully awakened. The giant alien warships entered Earth's atmosphere, firing plasma weapons toward the ice below. Huge explosions shattered the frozen landscape, but then the hidden human fleet responded. One ancient warship slowly rose from beneath the ice, breaking through the surface like a metal giant awakening from sleep. The ship's hull glowed blue as enormous cannons rotated toward the sky. Imperial officers aboard the destroyer suddenly realized something terrifying. The human ship was older than their empire itself. A second later, the human vessel fired. A beam of white energy ripped through the atmosphere and sliced one alien destroyer completely in half. The explosion lit the Antarctic sky like a second sun. The remaining Imperial ships tried to retreat. Too late, more human warships rose from beneath the ice. Dozens of ancient cannons locked onto the alien fleet. Within seconds, the 2 destroyers were destroyed. Across Earth, billions watched the battle live. Humanity was no longer hiding. Inside the Oblivion Crown, Emperor Ziran slowly stood from his throne. For the first time in his life, he understood the truth. Earth was not a forgotten primitive world. It was the sleeping home of an ancient warrior species. Then another transmission arrived from Earth. Admiral Hayes appeared once more on the main screen. This time his voice was colder. "You made a mistake coming here," he said. Behind him, thousands of human warships slowly activated beneath Antarctica. Then he gave humanity's first warning to the galaxy. Earth is no longer hiding. The message from Earth spread across the galaxy faster than light. Earth is no longer hiding. Within days, fear began growing across hundreds of alien worlds. Old governments reopened ancient military archives. Historians searched forbidden records that had remained sealed for centuries. And everywhere, one forgotten name slowly returned: humans. On the capital planet of the Galactic Empire, giant cities covered the surface like endless oceans of steel and light. Normally, the world was calm and powerful. But now panic filled the streets. Citizens watched news broadcasts showing human warships rising from beneath Antarctica, Imperial destroyers exploding in seconds, and Earth openly challenging the Empire itself for the first time in living memory. People questioned whether Emperor Ziran could actually lose a war. Inside the massive Imperial palace, emergency meetings continued day and night. Military commanders demanded immediate action. "We must destroy Earth before the humans fully rebuild their fleet." One general shouted, another slammed his fist against the table. "If humanity spreads beyond their system, rebellion will begin across the galaxy." But Emperor Ziran remained silent on his throne. His silver eyes watched ancient holograms floating in the air before him, old recordings from the First Galactic War. Destroyed alien fleets burned across forgotten star systems. Entire battle groups vanished against impossible human tactics. Even ancient imperial titans, ships once believed indestructible, had fallen to humanity long ago. Zirin slowly stood. "Leave me," he ordered quietly. The commanders immediately obeyed. After the room emptied, only one figure remained behind. The old imperial historian, Varuk. Zirin looked toward him without emotion. "You knew about this species," the emperor said coldly. Varuk lowered his head. "The old records were hidden after the war ended," he answered. "The Empire wanted the galaxy to forget humans ever existed." "Why?" Zirin asked. The old historian hesitated before speaking. "Because humanity terrified everyone." The room became silent. Varuk activated another ancient recording. An old human fleet appeared above a burning alien world. Their ships were badly damaged, yet they continued fighting against impossible odds. "They were not the strongest species," Varuk explained. "They were not the most advanced." The hologram zoomed closer toward the human ship still attacking, despite heavy losses. But humans never stopped fighting. Another image appeared. Alien surrender documents signed centuries ago. Even after losing worlds, families, and entire fleets, Varuk continued, humans always return stronger. Zirin stared at the images carefully. "They fought like survival itself depended on victory," he said quietly. Varuk nodded slowly. "Because for humans, it always did." Meanwhile, far away from the imperial capital, Earth was changing rapidly. The hidden Antarctic fleet continued awakening day and night. Massive shipyards opened beneath the ice. Factories untouched for centuries began building weapons again. For the first time in generations, humanity prepared openly for galactic war. Inside the command center beneath Antarctica, Admiral Victor Hayes studied a holographic map of nearby star systems. Human scouts had already detected Imperial fleets gathering near Earth. Dr. Elena Cross entered the room carrying old files recovered from the ancient fleet databases. "You need to see this," she said nervously. Hayes opened the files carefully. Then his expression slowly darkened. The records contained information about humanity's past, a truth hidden from modern civilization itself. Long ago, humans had not been isolated on Earth. They had ruled colonies across hundreds of star systems. But after the First Galactic War, surviving human leaders erased most advanced technology from Earth. They wanted humanity to rebuild peacefully and avoid another galaxy-wide disaster. Earth had never been primitive. Humanity had simply been. The destruction of the rebel fleet shocked the entire galaxy. News channels across hundreds of worlds replayed the same terrifying footage again and again. A giant human fortress rising beside the moon. A single energy beam destroying half a fleet. In seconds, and ancient human warships moving through space like silent predators. Fear spread faster than war itself. Many alien races believed humanity would now begin conquering the galaxy in revenge for the ancient wars. Some planets started evacuating civilians. Others prepared defensive fleets around their worlds. But Earth did something nobody expected. Humanity offered peace. Inside the underground command center beneath Antarctica, world leaders gathered around Admiral Victor Hayes. "This is our chance," one leader said nervously. "If we attack now, the Empire is vulnerable." Another immediately disagreed. "And start another galactic war," she replied. "Billions would die." The room filled with arguments, but Hayes remained calm. Finally, he stood and looked at everyone silently. "Humanity survived because we learned from our mistakes," he said. "If we become conquerors again, then history wins." The room slowly became quiet. Hayes activated a galaxy-wide communication signal. Every major government and alien civilization received the message instantly. The Admiral appeared on billions of screens across the stars. "We are humanity of Earth," he began. "We do not seek revenge." Many alien leaders watched carefully, expecting threats. Instead, Hayes continued calmly. "The Galactic Empire attacked our world by accident," he said. "But others are now trying to turn fear into war. Behind him, images appeared showing the rebel fleet attacking Earth without permission from the Empire. "We will defend ourselves if necessary," Hayes warned, "but humanity does not want to rule the galaxy." Then he gave one final message: "Leave Earth in peace, and we will offer peace in return." Across the galaxy, the reaction was immediate. Some aliens believed the humans were lying. Others saw something impossible. Mercy inside the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zyron watched the entire broadcast in silence. One of his generals looked confused. "They should be attacking us," the general said. "They have the advantage now," but Zyron slowly shook his head. "That is why humans are dangerous," he answered quietly. "They fight only when necessary." The Emperor remembered the ancient war records. Humanity had never enjoyed destruction. But once pushed too far, they became unstoppable. Meanwhile, near the outer colonies of the Empire, something else was happening. Several weaker alien worlds had become trapped between Imperial forces and rebel attacks. Many civilians were starving. Entire cities had lost power during the recent fighting. Normally, nobody expected help during galactic conflicts. Then human ships arrived. Large silver vessels entered damaged alien systems carrying food, medicine, and repair drones. Human soldiers helped evacuate injured civilians from burning cities. Engineers repaired power grids without asking for payment. The galaxy watched in disbelief. The same species feared for centuries was now saving alien lives. On one damaged colony world, a small alien child looked at a human soldier nervously. "Are you here to conquer us?" the child asked softly. The soldier smiled behind his helmet. "No," he replied. "We're here to help, far away." Hidden inside a destroyed asteroid station, the surviving rebel leaders watched humanity's actions with growing hatred. Their original plan had failed badly. Instead of becoming violent monsters, humans were gaining support across the galaxy. One rebel commander slammed his fist against a console. "If this continues, the Empire and humanity may unite," he growled. Another looked toward a hologram showing Earth's growing fleet. "Then we force the war ourselves," she said coldly. A dangerous plan quickly formed. Meanwhile, Earth's ancient shipyards continued building new vessels beneath Antarctica. Human engineers worked day and night restoring forgotten technology. Dr. Elena Cross walked through one of the massive hangars beside Admiral Hayes. Thousands of workers moved around giant warships under construction. "You really believe peace is possible?" Elena asked quietly. Hayes looked at the workers around him before answering. "I believe humanity deserves a second chance," he said. Before Elena could respond, emergency alarms suddenly echoed through the shipyard. A military officer rushed toward them, panic visible on his face. "Sir," he shouted, "one of our deep space patrols was attacked." Hayes immediately turned toward the tactical screens. A damaged human cruiser appeared on the display, drifting through space near Jupiter. The ship was heavily destroyed. Fire spread across its hull. Hundreds of life signs were disappearing rapidly. "Who attacked them?" Elena asked. The officer looked pale. "The rebel faction," he answered. "They used stolen Imperial weapons." Then another transmission suddenly appeared. The rebel leader's face filled the screen. "You wanted peace," she said mockingly. "But peace is weakness." Behind her, the burning human cruiser slowly exploded into pieces. Everyone inside the command center became silent. Dozens of human soldiers had just died. For several long seconds, Admiral Hayes stared at the destroyed ship without speaking. Then his expression slowly changed. The calmness disappeared from his eyes. And for the first time since the war began, humanity became angry. The destruction of the human cruiser changed everything across Earth. Millions watched the explosion replay across every screen. Families waited for survivors that would never return. Military bases fell silent, and deep beneath Antarctica, the atmosphere inside the command center became colder than the ice above it. Humanity had offered peace, and peace had been answered with murder. Admiral Victor Hayes stood motionless before the tactical display, staring at the burning remains. Of the destroyed cruiser, no one dared speak. Finally, Hayes turned slowly toward his officers. "Find the rebel fleet," he said quietly. The calmness in his voice frightened everyone more than shouting ever could. Within minutes, hidden human fleets began moving across the solar system. Ancient warships powered up one after another. Massive engines shook underground hangars as thousands of vessels prepared for combat. For the first time in centuries, humanity was fully entering a galactic war. Far away, inside the Imperial Palace, Emperor Ziran also received news of the attack. "The rebels destroyed a human ship near Jupiter," an officer reported nervously. Ziran closed his eyes for a moment. "They were warned," he said softly. Even the Emperor understood what was coming next. Meanwhile, the rebel faction celebrated. Inside their hidden asteroid fortress, their leader, Commander Vexa, believed humanity would finally become violent and destroy its own reputation across the galaxy. "Now the monsters will show their true face," she said proudly. But she did not understand humans at all. Hours later, rebel scanners suddenly detected movement near the outer asteroid fields. At first, it looked like empty space, then human. Ships appeared from darkness itself. Dozens of black warships emerged silently without warning. No loud broadcasts, no threats, no speeches, only silence. The rebel fleet immediately opened fire. Plasma cannons and missiles filled space with explosions. But the human ships moved differently from normal fleets. Instead of charging directly forward, they split apart into smaller formations. Each vessel attacked from unexpected angles. Every movement felt carefully planned. Rebel commanders quickly realized something terrifying. Humans did not fight harder, they fought smarter. One human destroyer purposely allowed enemy ships to chase it into an asteroid field. Seconds later, hidden mines exploded around the rebels, trapping them between collapsing rocks and concentrated human fire. Another human cruiser shut down its engines completely, pretending to be disabled. When rebel fighters approached carelessly, hidden weapons activated instantly and destroyed them at close range. The battle became chaos. Inside the rebel command station, Commander Vexa stared at the tactical screens in horror. "How are they predicting our attacks?" she shouted. An officer answered fearfully. "They are adapting in real time. That was humanity's greatest strength. Humans learned during battle faster than most species learned during peace. Within 1 hour, half the rebel fleet was gone. But then the war spread even further. Several Imperial commanders, fearing humanity's growing power, ignored Emperor Ziran's orders and launched attacks on human positions near Mars and Saturn. The galaxy instantly exploded into full-scale war. Human fleets clashed against Imperial armadas across multiple star systems. Giant battles filled space with fire and debris. Entire moons became military strongholds overnight. But again and again, humans shocked everyone. Smaller human fleets defeated larger alien forces using strategy, traps, hacking attacks, and psychological warfare. One Imperial admiral watched in disbelief as a human fleet disappeared from scanners completely. Minutes later, the human ships reappeared directly behind his command carrier. Before he could react, his entire fleet was surrounded. Another battle near Neptune became legendary after only 12 human ships destroyed more than 60 Imperial vessels by forcing them into Saturn's gravity field. Alien soldiers slowly began fearing human commanders more than human weapons because humans thought differently. Inside the Oblivion Crown, Emperor Ziran studied battle reports with growing concern. Every new conflict confirmed the ancient records. Humanity became more dangerous the longer the war continued. Varek, the old historian, stood beside the Emperor quietly. The Empire created this disaster. He said sadly. Ziran did not deny it. A navigation mistake had. The mysterious signal from deep space spread fear across the galaxy. For the first time in history, both humanity and the Galactic Empire stopped fighting to study the same threat. Nobody knew who sent the message. Nobody knew what was coming. But one thing became painfully clear. Something far worse than war was moving toward the galaxy. Inside Earth's Antarctic Command Center, scientists worked without rest trying to decode the remaining parts of the transmission. Massive holographic screens filled the room with strange alien symbols. Warning alarms echoed constantly through the underground base, and every few hours the unknown signal grew stronger. Dr. Elena Cross looked exhausted as she studied the data. "This signal is billions of years old," she explained, "but something is boosting it as it travels." Admiral Victor Hayes crossed his arms. "You think whoever sent it is still alive?" he asked. Elena looked toward the stars displayed on the giant screen. "I think they're getting closer," she answered quietly. Far away on the Imperial capital world, Emperor Xiron faced growing panic inside his own empire. Entire colonies demanded protection, trade routes collapsed, and several alien governments threatened to abandon the empire completely. The old confidence of the galaxy was disappearing. During an emergency meeting, Imperial generals demanded immediate action against Earth again. "We cannot trust humans," one commander argued. "If this new enemy arrives, humanity may betray us." Another general nodded aggressively. "They were our enemies once before." But Emperor Xiron slowly stood from his throne, silencing the room instantly. "No," he said firmly. "They are the only reason we still have a chance." The generals stared at him in shock. For centuries, the emperor had ruled through fear and absolute strength, but now he was speaking about alliance instead of conquest. Xiron activated a hologram of the incoming deep space objects. Thousands of unknown vessels were approaching the galaxy. Dark machines larger than planets, moving silently between stars. Even Imperial weapons calculations predicted almost zero chance of victory. Then Xiron made the most important decision of his life. "Prepare my flagship," he ordered. "I am going to Earth." Meanwhile, near the edge of the galaxy, human long-range scouts finally encountered the unknown enemy directly. The scouting fleet transmitted terrifying images before communication suddenly ended. Entire stars had been drained of energy. Dead planets floated through space like empty graves, and enormous black structures moved between the ruins like feeding predators. No life signs existed anywhere near them, only silence. One final message reached Earth before the scout fleet disappeared completely. "They are not invading," the human captain warned. "They are consuming everything." Hours later, Emperor Xiron arrived above Earth, personally aboard the Oblivion Crown. For the first time in galactic history, the Emperor of the Galactic Empire entered orbit around Earth peacefully. Human defense fleets surrounded the massive flagship carefully. Weapons remained active on both sides. One mistake could still restart the war. Inside the Antarctic base, Admiral Hayes finally met Emperor Xiron face to face. The two leaders stood silently for several seconds. One represented the ancient galactic empire. The other represented humanity, the species once feared by the stars. Finally, Xiron spoke first. "My empire attacked your world," he said calmly. "And because of our mistakes, the galaxy stands divided while extinction approaches." Hayes watched him carefully without responding. Then the emperor lowered his head slightly, a gesture no ruler had ever seen him make before. "I ask for an alliance," Xiron said. The room became silent. Human generals looked shocked. Even Imperial officers seemed unable to believe what they were hearing. Hayes slowly stepped forward. "If humanity agrees," he said, "then this galaxy changes forever." Xiron nodded once. "Then let it change," he answered. Days later, the largest fleet in galactic history gathered near the outer rim. Human warships stood beside Imperial titans. Former enemies prepared to fight together. Thousands of alien races united for survival. And at the center of the allied fleet stood Earth's ancient human vessels, because everyone now understood the truth. When the galaxy faced extinction, humanity refused to run. The final battle began near a dying star system. The unknown enemy fleets emerged from darkness like living shadows. Their giant machines consumed planets whole. Even stars dimmed as they passed. But humanity led the counterattack fearlessly. Human commanders coordinated fleets from dozens of species at once. Earth's ancient moon fortress shattered enemy. Machines with beams of white energy. Imperial Titans defended human carriers while alien fighters protected Earth ships. For the first time in history, the galaxy fought as one. The battle lasted for days. Entire fleets were destroyed. Worlds burned across the darkness, but slowly, the enemy advance finally stopped. Then humanity made the final sacrifice. A group of ancient human warships overloaded their core reactors and charged directly into the center of the enemy fleet. The explosion lit the galaxy like a second sun. When the light finally disappeared, the enemy armada was gone. The war was over. Months later, peace slowly returned to the galaxy on Earth. Emperor Ziran stood beside Admiral Hayes looking at the blue planet below. "We came here believing humanity was weak," Ziran admitted quietly. Hayes looked toward the stars. "And instead," the Emperor continued, "you became the shield of the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy no longer feared humanity. Now it respected them." But deep beneath Antarctica, inside the oldest human vault on Earth, one ancient eye suddenly activated again. A new signal had appeared from deep space, and this time it was much closer.